So on this cardi, for me, the most important bit to get perfect is the neckband. So I cut a strip. I just use my my ruler and I cut a strip all the way along the fabric first, the width of the pattern, and then I iron this band in half along the length all the way along. And then I like to give it some time to cool down so that the fabric relaxes back into shape. So sometimes when you iron it, the heat can make it stretch. So I set it to the side and just let it cool down for a bit. And then I take it over to my table. So at this point, I still have my 2 strips. So I lay out the pattern piece with the neckband to one side, and I lay that all the way along a longer section of my desk. And then I grab each cool down band and I start at the end and I just lay that along the top like so. And I just make sure it's nice and relaxed so it's not stretched at all. Some fabrics like rayon can stretch. And then I grab my fabric pencil and I mark the notches. I mark the double notch and then the hem. And then I do the other one, then I sew it together, and it just makes it, if you lay it all like really flat and even, it just makes it all so much easier. Let me show you how I put the band on. Here we have the almost completed cardigan. So here is the neckline and then down the center front. So the neckline is easy to pin. You don't really need to pin that flat. You just match the notches to the shoulder. There we go. So that notch is to the shoulder. So that section there, you can see that the band is smaller. So you're going to stretch it as you sew across the back neck. So just stretch the band to match the neckline, no further. And then along the front, it stretches as well, but less. The stretch is not as much. It's quite a small amount. So we just line that notch up with the point of the V. That's my dog. And then I actually add another pin up about 1 inch because I don't want to stretch that lower part just there at the V. So then as you sew, you will just stretch that a tiny bit. Then pinning the next section. So we're going to pin it along here, but we're going to match the notches first. So there's a double notch. There we go, right there. And then we match it to this double notch. There we go. And then we can pin that section in between there. And I like to do this flat because sometimes it can look bigger. So that should match. Now, if yours doesn't, and I can see mine has a little bit of a bump just here. So I'm just going to pin that for now. But I do seem to have a bit of excess, but that's okay because we're just going to check the bottom section. So this is the hemline along here. And right here is where the hem turns up. I've got this notch at 4.5 centimeters. So we've finished this end. So this end is finished properly. So we're going to line that up right here, just above the notch, like the tiniest smidgen above the notch. And then we're going to fold it up. Now you want it to fit snugly around there, but don't pull it tight. So here's the notch right here. I'm going to put those pins in. Yeah, we can afford to take this one out and even that out a little bit more. There we go, no bumps, much better. And sometimes that happens. The fabric can move when you notch it. It can grow a little bit. So this section along here, which is the front, we're not going to stretch that at all. It has to match perfectly. So you're going to baste from the bottom hem here all the way up to here. And the reason for that is I find as you're sewing this band section here can move and the band can twist. So I like to baste it first, but I baste with the band on the bottom. So I baste with the cardi facing upwards. Next, at step 33, you will baste the lower section of the band on, and then we'll overlock the band on together, and I will show you that right now. Now, when you sew the band on, so I've done the straight edge already, so you can see my basting along here, and I come to the V-neck angle. So all you need to do is just sew it all the way up to there, and then just kind of treat it like a curve a little bit, but don't stretch yet. So sew up just a tiny bit past the corner, so about 1 inch past the corner. Then grab your shoulder and just stretch it out to even it up, but then relax it back as much as you can so that the V neckline is still straight. So you can see it's like this much smaller. So stretch and just relax it back a little bit. Seam towards the back. Now the same with the back neckline. You can see that the band is smaller than the back neck. So stretch and then just relax it back the tiniest amount. And the other side, again, the shoulder seam, stretch and relax. Now we're coming around the other front neck, and you can see I've got a pin here at the V and then about another inch above that, because I'm only going to stretch to there. I'm not going to stretch that last inch. So pull to even it and just relax it back a bit. All right. Take my corner pin out and then down the front. Now as you sew down the front, don't stretch it, don't add any tension. And then down to our hem. And there you go. So when we turn that hem out, dun dun dun, and we have our hem and there's our underneath. Voila. So when I hem it, I actually start from this end and I go along the hem first, and then I go around the whole cardigan and then down back to this point. And here you can see the band all sewn on around our corner. And then you can see you'll get puckering around the neck, but that will iron out. So you'll just iron this flat like this first, just along the seam. And then you'll flip it and iron it flat on both sides and all the way around. And that's that little hem again. And so you just flip that out and voila.